we start now? Good evening, one and all. Here we are here together to celebrate the International Women's Day program today. So I'm very fortunate today to host this talk show. So first of all, let me just introduce. Let me just tell we have 5 panelists here today for the talk show, and we have very fortunate to have all these eminent speakers here tonight. So, welcome to the International Women's Day Talk Show. The theme this year, Inspire Inclusion or Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress. Women are more likely to invest their earnings in their children's health and education, improving their own children's prospects while expanding the human capital in a country. Because women-led businesses also tend to employ more women, helping women entrepreneurs also help create jobs for a broader swath of women. Now, the International Women's Day is powered by the collective efforts of all. Collective action and shared ownerships for driving gender parity is what makes International Day impactful. According to Gloria Steinem, a world-renowned feminist, journalist, and activist, once explained, the story of women's struggle for equality belongs to no single feminist nor to any organization, but to the collective efforts of all who care about human rights. So make International Women's Day your day and do what you can to truly make a positive difference for women. Imagine a gender equal world, a world free of bias, stereotypes, and discrimination, a world that's diverse, equitable, and inclusive, a world where difference is valued and celebrated. Together we can forge women's equality. Collectively we can all inspire inclusion, which is the theme of this World International Day 2024. Now, the event talk show with experts is organized by the founder and president of Saksham Society Rajasthan, Ambassador Dr. Shilpi Chauhan. She is a global goodwill ambassador, renowned social scientist, having many research papers at national and international levels to her credit, and has a huge field research experience too. She is also the winner of Global Pride Award, International Lady Legend Award, and many more in a row. She takes the lead role of the NGO based at Jaipur, Rajasthan, India, that works on social causes of education, physical and mental health of women, economic empowerment of the women, and many other social activities. So we are fortunate to have very dynamic, charismatic, and inspiring speakers for today. I am really honored and privileged to introduce the speakers. Before that, I will hand over the microphone to Dr. Shilpi for a few words from her side.
Thank you so much, and congratulations, ma'am, for hosting this type of program. And today is very big day, the day of Shakti, Nari Shakti as well. And before not wasting too much time, I would like to introduce our host. The host for today is Professor Dr. Mr. Thomas, educationist with more than 3 decades of experience in various disciplines, science, humanities, and environmental studies. Also an international speaker, global educator, academician, certified global trainer, and keynote speaker. She was dean and registrar for Sikkim Professional University, who played a critical role in the university and academic operations by effectively managing the maintenance and discipline, supervises senior managers, serves as an internal consultant. She is a person with a vision and determination to dedicate herself to educating the future generation. And now, after last 2-3 years, she is connected with the Saksham Society and continuously doing as a volunteer work here to promote the society and for doing the lots of awareness programs and talk shows. So over to you, ma'am. Please continue the session.
Thank you, Dr. Shilpi, for your introduction to the panelists here, to the talk show here. So I'm happy that Dr. Jelena.
Okay, thank you very much.
Dr. Jelena, let me just complete Dr. Jelena.
Yes. I questions today.
Okay.
Yes.
Dr. Jelena, our first panelist of today's talk show, is an academician, Professor Jelena Boskovic, PhD from Belgrade Metropolitan University, Republic of Serbia. She is a full professor at the university, advisor to the president of Belgrade Metropolitan University, and the director for IRASA Institute at Belgrade, International Research Academy of Science and Arts, Associate of the Department of Biology, Novi Sad, Department of Genetics on research projects in the year 1975 to 77. Also a research associate at the Faculty of Agriculture, Novi Sad, plant protection in the field of parasitic resistant genetics in the year 1993. And she's also from 1989 to 1991 on specialization in the countries of European Union, stay from the US Department of Agricultural Laboratories, Paul Serial Rust Laboratory, University of Minnesota, Manhattan, Kansas State University, where she completed research for her doctoral dissertation. She was elected assistant professor in 1993 at the Faculty of Agriculture, University of Novi Sad, and associate professor in 1996 at the Faculty of Agriculture, University of Belgrade, and full professor also in the field of genetics at the Megatrend University. Thank you. She has got a science background. She's a very genius person, and we are very fortunate to have her here, a very motivational speaker, a dynamic speaker. So let's move on to the first question of to Dr. Jelena. So the first question for you is, how do you, what are the rights of women according to international treaties? Over to Dr. Jelena.
Thank you very much. Beautiful word, academician Pino Thomas. Good evening, good morning, good day in the world. Respected academician Professor Pino Thomas, lady and gentlemen. I have a special thanks the invitation to be guest panelist in talk show, the International Women's Day. The respected academician, Professor Dr. Banu Thomas, dear lady, all over the world, I wish you happy holiday, March 8, International Women's Days, and I send a message that we never give up on ourselves and our rights and status in the global world. What are the rights of women according international treaties? Under international treaties such is the Convention and the Elimination of all forms of discrimination against women, government have a legal obligation of protecting even from violence to promote the human rights of all women and to ensure their economic, legal, social, and political improvement. One of the most important international human rights document dealing with women's rights in the United Nations, Convention of the Elimination of all discrimination. This convention prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex. Women's rights are an expression used to describe of legal, ideological, psychological, and political concept according to each every female human being by the very act of birth, regardless of origin or citizenship, or such number of inalienable rights. They represent the rights that are guaranteed to women and girls. In many societies around the world, in some ways, these rights are institutional, or women's rights are different from the broader concept of human rights, because women throughout history and partly still today were actively depart certain rights. If considered historically, one of the best declaration on Women's Day rights, the Declaration of Statements, also known Declaration of Rights, and sentiments signed in 1848 by 6-8 women and 32 men. The depan position woman in early law is confirmed in the evidence of the oldest system. In ancient Egypt, women enjoyed the greatest number of rights compared to women other ancient society. For women in ancient Rome, were citizens who enjoyed legal privilege and protection that do not apply non-citizen and slaves. It was characteristic patriarchal concept of Roman society based on the importance, the role played by the pater familias, i.e., the father of the family. It's the earliest period of the Roman Republic. Upon marriage, women would pass from control and her father into hands and her husband. Is beautiful. The position in women China was low, mainly because of the costume of the so-called foot pink. About 15% of Chinese women had bound feet in the 19th century, while of the upper classes it is almost 100%. I'm sorry. The Chinese government banning this costume in 1992. Foot burning involved changing but bone structure so feet were only about 4 inch long and made movement difficult, greatly limited women's activity. Women and ancient old graces were seen primarily as being that prolong the species. In none the grace Polish women have political rights and considered citizens. Special country in Greece. Many women are mentioned in the Bible. 108 in 18 of them are named, but there are also many other whose name not mentioned. Queens and leaders are prominent among these women. Before, during the time, the role of women, the story in the Bible most describe important events, which is why most the people mentioned in the Bible. According to classified Hamilton, the Bible is the only book in the world until our country which view women as living beings who are equal to men. The Quran is holy book of Islam, which provide guidance to Islamic community and modifies existing Christian and Arab society. Some women in the Quran are portrayed in positive light, while some are condemned of their action. Today, women enjoy this right in almost all countries in the world. However, it was not always like that. Women political activity, that is their participation and decision making in addition to being prescribed for the inclusion of women's perspective in political representative human rights to human political representation. Back in 1991, Olympia de Gregoris wrote of Declaration of Women and Citizen as response declaration men and citizen and advocated possibility of women participate of public affairs. Labor law. On the international level, International Labour Organization, the oldest specialized of the United Nations, is the most important field labor rights protection. It promotes social justice and protect internationally recognized human and labor rights. Discrimination against women in the workplace often manifests by giving women equal composition support to men performed work to equal value. Special protection for pregnant women and mothers, labor law, mobbing and sexual abuse, special protection for pregnant women and mothers, mobbing and sexual abuse in the world. How do you feel international women they can educate society on the remarkable women's rights movement? International Women's Day serves not only as a celebration of achievement, but also a critical moment, this moment, for introspection. It promotes us to reflect the start made toward gender equality while acknowledging ongoing work necessary to create truly equitable future. The race for the best possible education, while begun in the second half of the last century, continues today. Knowledge has become an imperative of the 21st century and represents one of the most important link achieving grand equality. Times change with then goals of education. Classical education, which was region supply a new past history. The Industrial Revolution, significant progress in education, but women still underrepresented. Ordinary school, it puts them in the 21st century. This difference exists only in marginalized groups, poor area, remote villages that are age and any communication. Education is very important for human development, human population. Women education is a prescribed for progress society. Special UNESCO General Irina Bokova in her message on February 11 in the occasion International Day of Women and Girls, this message was sent to conference agencies to United Nations Framework on Climate Change COP 22. Humanity cannot afford to neglect half its resources of creative genius.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Regina, for your knowledge of the topic and your best expressed through a clear and concise presentation. That is very provocative. Now, moving on to the second panelist, we have Dr. Mehrin is traveling, so she will join later. I would request Dr. Engineer Sonesh to take over. And let me just introduce Dr. Sonesh. Dr. Sonesh has over 16 years of experience in the services industry, heading on the sales, marketing, operation, training, etc. Being a fine-tuned business and life skill coach, he has coached and mentored more than 10,000 various entrepreneurs, established business startup owners across the global market in an upscaling and enhancing their team performance and hence scale up their business. She is a global motivational speaker, keynote speaker, certified sales and soft skill leadership, behavioral master trainer, life and business coach, writer, youth mentor, women catalyst on various coaching platforms. Being a high enthusiastic speaker at various national and international platforms for women entrepreneurs, youth summits, business leadership, startup, ideation and life coaching. She holds numerous designation on global ambassador, advisory board member, active member, director at various NGOs and non-profitable companies to serve and empower people at national and international levels. Moreover, she has got awarded as the best outstanding trained graduate teacher. She has more awards that she had received, which I think time is less to present all of her awards. She has received so many awards at different areas. So moving on, we will come to the first question of Dr. Sunish. The first question over to. Thank you, Dr. Sunish, for joining us in this platform today, and we are very happy and fortunate and privileged to have a very exciting speaker for this topic. The first question is, how can diversity enhance your own life?
So first of all, my heartfelt gratitude to all the panelists available over this platform today evening, and wishing all of you and everyone whosoever is listening to me and viewing us on live stream platforms a very, very happy International Women's Day, because I believe we don't celebrate only one day. Every day is a celebration for us, and especially being a woman, I always feel we are super blessed as long as we understand our powers, right? Because just being a female is not something, is a outstanding thing what we are doing. The most important thing, as a particularly women, do we understand who we are? Because I believe every human is being blessed with certain powers in they themselves, but we being females has been blessed with certain more additional specialties, and I would say extraordinary powers, if we understand, as a word called Shakti says. Shakti defines us, right? Now, the meaning of Shakti, I just want to take probably a minute to explain. For me, when it comes to a women leader or a female leader, especially whether it is a working area, non-working area, or it is even for entrepreneurs, because I'm so fortunate to go and interact with a lot of female leaders at different levels and different spans where they go and have their presence, both at national and international markets, right? I always say and tell people, wherever you go and work, always see how best you are able to give yourself in terms of efficiency, in terms of growth, and in terms of gelling well and understanding who you are as an individual. So for me, when I say Shakti, Shakti is not only a beauty. For me, for a women leader, it's always defined as inside out. How beautifully you understand yourself as an individual, and the same reflection will be there on your persona, on your personality, when you go and interact more and more with people. So coming down to the very first question, as Dr. Binu has asked me, that how diversity has impacted my life, or I would say, how can diversity enhance life? So for me, the concept of diversity is all about a combination of our differences that shape our view of the world, our perspective, and our approach. So diversity is also about recognizing, respecting, and valuing differences based on ethnicity, gender, age, race, and sexual orientations. So when it comes to women, especially whether you are as a homemaker, or you are going and working out for multinational companies, or let's say even you're an independent self entrepreneur or a solopreneur, or you're working with a team, it is very, very important to understand the concept of diversity, right? For me personally, when I know, you all know that I'm from Delhi, when I shifted myself for my career towards South, it was a bit challenging, but then I start understanding the whole game of being into diverse worlds. I was a very passionate individual, but then I was not knowing how I will be thriving into my dream life, because everywhere I could see is all new faces, new challenges, and probably I would say bigger challenges. The more and more I start understanding this concept of diversity, that shapes me today who I am. So all I can say with my experience, then when I talk about the game of diversity, there are 6 areas which I guess every woman should keep in their mind while they're interacting at different workspaces. Number one, cultural diversity. Number two, racial diversity. Number three, religious diversity. Number four, age diversity. Number five, gender diversity. Number six, sexual orientation. And number last but not the least is disability, right? So let's say, as a women leader, whether you are leading at various leadership positions, or you are just starting up your career, if you can crack the balance with all these different types of diversity which I have just mentioned, you will find yourself as a very powerful leader, and you see, as an individual, you are able to contribute very powerfully to the outer world. Because I'm a firm believer, it's not only about what we learn, it's also about how well we are able to spread that knowledge and experience in a very, very powerful dynamics to the outer world, especially in terms of cultural diversity. Now, when I shifted from all the way from north to south, there was a huge, huge gap in terms of everything, you name it, right from language, cultural background, right from food, you name it. I think everything was different for me. Now, there can be two choices in front of a leader. Number one, you start working against those challenges and start crying for every small thing. Number two option is you start turning the weaknesses into your strength. I use option number two for myself because I felt if I'm just going to resist the change, it is not going to help me to become a better individual today who I am. Rather, let me understand the power of using these particular weaknesses around me into my key core strengths and learn from people in a very, very powerful manner. When I started doing so, I started seeing a different perception of the world altogether. And today, wherever I travel, language is no more a barrier for me. Cultural diversity is no more a barrier for me. Rather, it has become a kind of great celebration. Today, you name it, because after working with a lot of global leaders, we celebrate all sort of festivals together with the same respect, same, I would say, kind of joyful and kind of harmonies which we wanted to create into the human space. So for me, diversity is the core crux. Do not limit your potential. It basically helps you to overcome all those internal orthodox stereotype challenges in your mind and brings the whole plethora of beautiful individual who you are. In short, diversity is a key towards experiences the most human dynamic form of you through spirituality and through understanding the concept of why you are on this planet. Because we don't simply come here to lead, eat, simply just work for few duration and go away. We come here to create a powerful change, and the change can be seen in terms of what you contribute back to the society. That's called you have really utilized your experience, your knowledge, and your humanity to the best and to the core. That's all towards your first powerful question, Professor Binu. I hope I'm able to do justice to it.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Sonesh, for a wonderful, inspiring speech. Answer that you have given. The speaker has the ability to ignite passion and motivation in the hearts of the audience, and she's able to share her own experience and provide guidance for personal growth. So we thoroughly engaged and learned a great deal from you, where you have presented about mentioned about personality, concept of diversity. She herself is an example of diversity who faced new challenges in different areas. So diversity, as we said, is it's not just a buzzword. It's a crucial element that enrich our lives in different ways, from fostering innovation and creativity to enhancing emotional intelligence and social skills. Diversity serves as a catalyst for a more inclusive and dynamic existence. Thank you very much. And moving on to the next panelist, we will still wait for Dr. Mehrin. So I will move to Ms. Alka Kumar, yet another inspiring speaker. We are very fortunate to hear from her today. She is also a empowering, influential speaker that we have here today in this platform. So welcome, Alka, to this platform. And your first question is, before that, let me just introduce you to the platform and to the global platform itself. Mrs. Alka Kumar calls herself a psychology enthusiast in every aspect of its application and usage. She has taught psychology for more than 25 years at the class 12 level in a leading school in Delhi, and is a PG diploma, postgraduate diploma holder in guidance and counseling from NCRT, as well as certified career counselor from Career Naksha. Her interest in mental health is not only an outcome of her post-graduation in psychology, but a desire to practice empathy and unconditional positive regard for those in distress. So that's a great positive step that she has taken to serve the society or the community. She is a trained soft skill expert from ICBI and enjoys interacting with people through workshop or through one-on-one sessions at the individual level as the situation demands. She has touched more than 1,000 students in her professional career and continues to do so as a mental health practitioner. According to her, experience is the biggest teacher in understanding the human psyche in her lifelong pursuit. So thank you, Mrs. Alka Kumar, for joining us here on this special day of International Women's Day. And let me just come to you with the first question. Why is the International Day considered a global celebration? So over to you, Mrs. Alka Kumar.
Thank you, Dr. Binu, for your very generous introduction, and what a pertinent topic. I also congratulate all my previous speakers for enhancing my understanding of this very special day. So once again, at the cost of repeating myself, a very happy Women's Day on this very special day where we are celebrating Shakti also. So at the very onset, I'd like to start by saying that every woman's success should be an inspiration to another. We are strongest when we cheer each other on. So it is a global celebration, and we need to understand that one individual at the furthest corner of the globe can impact the furthest distant person staying in another part of the world by merely going down or going up. So it is very important to maintain the balance, whether it be gender or whether it be ethnicity or any other such diversity that we are talking about today. So I should start with the very first question that comes to my mind. Does every woman around the globe feel that she's enjoying equal rights as a male counterpart does? The answer is an emphatic no, because we are not there yet. So as we jog back our memories, since the question over here is, why is it a global celebration and why are we doing it? So if we jog back our memory, the earliest International Women's Day was celebrated on the 20th of February 1909 by the United Nations, and it was an outcome of a lot of taking place because of poor labor laws, and also it was an outcome of certain women's movements in the Russian Revolution. This, of course, was dated somewhere in 1917. But the impetus to this movement came around the year 1975 when UN declared 75 to be the International Women's Year, and 8th March was identified as the day we celebrated. Now, why do we celebrate it? Why is it so important that we celebrate one day? But don't we celebrate our birthdays that one day? Don't we have Mother's Day that one day? So when we concentrate our energies on that one day, we bring out our agendas in life. And therefore, we recognize this day that we are celebrating how far we have come. So there was a time when just a few, maybe you could count it on your fingertips, just a few countries allowed women to vote. Very few countries allowed women to come out and work. And when they allowed them to work, the pay parity was not there. Also, if you imagine, women also did not have rights to deciding whether they should go in for an abortion or have that child. So reproductive independence also was not there. So what was there? What rights our grandmothers enjoyed? Well, we've come a long distance from there, but yet we have not still arrived because there is still disparity. So after more than 100 years, the first march was about ending harmful workplace conditions, equal rights, equal pay, and an end to exploitation. But we still are sadly way behind, and there is a lot to be done. The second point I want to raise is because the rights we have are not secure. So there are so many laws, like in India, we have the POSH, Prevention of Sexual Harassment in the Workplace. It is, of course, subject to, if we understand the background, these are the Vishaka guidelines that happened after the Bhavri Devi rape case. Now, we have these guidelines, but do the internal committees guarantee a woman's safety in the workplace? Is it absolutely fair? Yes. That is a matter of concern. But despite there being laws, we still have not been able to secure equal rights for women. Reproductive rights, again, are subject to a lot of political football. So when one party comes, they say that, of course, every woman has a right to decide whether they should go ahead with their pregnancy. The other one comes and says something else. And this is not the story of our country. We are still enjoying a lot of rights in that particular field. But you look at countries all around. I think we must applaud France, because just yesterday they came out with the abortion law that a woman has every right to decide when she needs to end her pregnancy. So that is, imagine, with so many years in background, in an advanced country like France, only now they could adopt such a law. Domestic violence, marital rape, these are things that continue to happen despite there being well laid out laws. Therefore, we need to celebrate internationally Women's Day at a global level, because we need to remind people and policymakers and lawmakers that there needs to be proper legislation and there needs to be a proper execution of those laws. A third thing that I would also emphasize is that because progress hasn't been equal, we still, I mean, look around in the globe. If I feel that I have not encountered any discrimination in my life, how am I justifying my sister next door or my neighbor a little further, a colleague at the workplace who has been through exploitation, unequal behavior from the opposite gender? So if she is not being treated fairly, how can I be comfortable? Therefore, it's again, it is the bond of sisterhood that we need to celebrate this day and egg on our counterpart, our friends, our colleagues, our comrades to work for achieving a society which is equal, where there is no disparity because of gender. Also, I would, of course, do some number crunching and tell you that there is a lot of statistics which says that more than 47,000 women and girls were killed by their male partners or family members in 2020. And those are just the deaths that have been reported. 47 countries still have no repercussions for husbands who rape their wives. I mean, some statistics is always important to tell why it is a global phenomena. Why should we adopt and why should we celebrate International Women's Day at the global level? There are 45 countries which do not have specific laws against domestic violence. It also shows solidarity with our sisters living in countries which may not be able to march out of fear for their safety. Look at Afghanistan. I mean, there are films, there are conditions galore that we keep seeing, and we just wonder how the world has just closed their eyes towards the plight of the women there. Is it fair? So we need to keep calling out. We need to just stand up and show up for our sisters in various parts of the world. Also, please remember that this year is celebrated as Invest in Women and Accelerate Growth. That this is a theme given by the United Nations. Also in India and in many parts of the world, we get out this year being inspired inclusion. So how to inspire inclusion? What do we do to inspire inclusion? We need to wake up people around us, and we can only do that when we are talking about it, when we are in such panel discussions where at least people from so many countries get together and talk and exchange ideas, because I believe educate a man, you educate that individual. Educate a woman, you educate an entire generation, and you see what is the representation here. We are all women talking about Women's Day. It's difficult to get men to talk about it. And even if they do they feel it? So again and again, I keep emphasizing the importance of celebrating Women's Day and continuing to do so for many, many years, till such time comes when we are comfortable in our own skin, we are comfortable outside in the workplace, in our families, in our rooms, in our houses, and in the world. So I think that's my submission for the first question that you asked, Dr. Veenu.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alka. Alka Kumar, we are very happy. And as you said about the personality, as you have said about the women's safety in the workplace, which is the need of the hour. Then you spoke about reproductive rights, domestic violence, which is all the present need of the hour. And you are an excellent example of what dedication and hard work can achieve. Elegant, flawless, fluent. These are who can characterize speech or speakers notable for their effectiveness. And thank you. And as we know, International Women's Day is a global day celebrating social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. So this day, as you said, marks a call to action for accelerating gender parity, as we have all discussed about that, and that is why we are here today. Significant activities witnessed worldwide as groups come together to celebrate women's achievement or rally for women's equality. That's the main focus. Now, moving on to the next panelist, I'm very happy to present a great person here from Philippines, Dr. Maritas D. Olaya. She is a very great person. She's a dedicated, resourceful, and goal-oriented educator with a solid commitment to the social and academic growth and development for quality education. So we have been there together in many platforms outside India. I was also very fortunate that I could get a platform with her, Share, where she had provided the platform outside India, and we really enjoyed being together also at Sydney, Thailand, and Singapore. So it was a great experience. At present, she is the president of International Organization of Educators and Research, IOER, a very famous organization. The organization of eminent educationists, researchers, and professionals across the globe.
Financial and human capital and impending their business growth. So further, any men and women with necessary skill to start the business abandon their goals due to the challenges they confront. So to support women, we need to support each other. To women around the world, if we support them, they will give them a sense of security. Another is give women the proper education. So the only way for the society or the nation to progress and inspire economic growth and development is not only through girls' education, but particularly among the all female citizens. So it allows them to adapt to difficulties, question their traditional roles, and transform their lives. So education teaches a person and make her realize that she is the important member of the society. So an effective girls' education will ensure the variety of outcomes, including the occupational achievement, the self-awareness, and of course the satisfaction for ourselves. So it empowers them, the women, to make their own decision, to advocate for their rights, and say no to the harmful cultural behavior. Another to empower women is to give a women job opportunities. So women employment is seen as an important tool for women's empowerment. So participation in the job market, that is an effective technique for improving women's condition both within and outside of their house or home. So women's employment and income generating activities boost their economic position and resulting them a better treatment. What else? Another is the boost women. So helping women is not just a job for men. So as a woman, when we give them access to leadership team, conferences, lineup, speaking, engagement, and media sourcing, where male views are the largely prioritized. So consider how we can help each other, women, because we deserve also to be on the stage. So sometimes empowering ourselves entails standing back and letting someone else to take the stage. Like for example, always wonder if they have other women who are better than us to deliver the topic. So give them opportunity. So we help each other, and if we give them opportunity, we help boost the personality. So thank you, Dr. Binu.
Thank you, Dr. Maritas, for your influential speech. A speaker who has the power to sway opinions and inspire action. You have a strong presence and are able to connect with the audience on a deep level. Thank you for your exuding action, exuding professionalism in your presentation. As she has said, when inspired to be included, there is a sense of belonging, relevance, and empowerment. And thank you so much. And I'm very fortunate. We are very fortunate to have a great speaker next who has just joined. Dr. Marin, are you there? Dr. Marin? Thank you so much, Dr. Maritas. So we will have the. So thank you. Despite your busy schedule, you could make it today. She has been traveling. So Dr. Ambassador Meherin Mia, she's from South Africa. Welcome. So we have the panelists. I'll just introduce them. Dr. Maritas has just finished her question, and She's from Philippines. She's the president of Indian IOER, and Mrs. Alka Kumar. She's from India. She's a career counselor, very famous person. And you have engineer Sonesh, whom you know her personally. I don't have to introduce her to you. You are all great charismatic speakers who are always seen in the top platforms. Welcome. So let me just introduce Dr. Ambassador Mehreen just now. Dr. Mehreen, she's a global educationist and transformational mental wellness advocate, founder, the MIA Program International, lecturer, NLP master, and CBT practitioner, multiple global award winner, lifelong learner, and women of purpose. So thank you so much for being here tonight. And with a warm welcome, I'll just hand over the platform to you, the microphone to you. And the first question for you is, how can we promote gender equality and social inclusion? Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, my dear Dr. Binu. It's lovely to be here, and I do apologize to everyone for being late, but time-wise, transport, traffic, so time frame, I think I finished like 40 minutes ago, and so travel is really hectic at that time, but I'm really honored and I'm grateful to God for me being here still and having this opportunity. It's so lovely to see Elka ma'am again and Sonesh ma'am again, and to be with all of you and to meet Dr. Maritas now. So lovely to meet you, ma'am. This topic today, and of course with happy International Women's Day to everybody. So we celebrate everybody today, but every day. What we're talking about in terms of, gender equality and social inclusion is not something that is new. It's been debatable amongst all of us on many platforms, many a time. But what I would like to say now is I think it's time for more action than discussion. We seriously have been talking so much about the barriers that are there, the bias that is there, the boardroom bias that is there, how girl children are not given enough chances nowadays. There's lack of finance education for girl children nowadays. Women are still not being recognized in corporates, leave alone in science, etc., etc. So we've had these multiple discussions over many, many years. So now to every leader that is out there, how are you taking these discussions to make a change? What is changing to say that the stats are going to change? So yes, we're seeing more women come up. Look at us, we're all here today. We're seeing more women in offices, in boardrooms, but are they really given that recognition because of being a woman and being able to do what they're doing? Or they're giving that position simply because somebody is feeling any government? Yes? So I'm saying when we're talking about promoting gender equality, let us do just that. Let us recognize that us as a woman is not your competition. We are we need to work together. We need to collaborate. We're not here to compete. I am mentally able to do the task that I at hand. And it's not because of just my gender, I have the ability. So I don't need a sympathy from anybody to recognize me as a woman in my position. I need you to respect me as a woman in my position. So the sympathy is not needed, the respect is needed. So that's in terms of gender equality. So in terms of that, remember, we have our brothers and our men out there. We each have our fathers. So we know every male is here for a purpose. But likewise, every woman and girl child is also here for that purpose. So let us respect what each of our purposes are. Let us respect what each of our roles are, and therefore work on how to educate ourselves to avoid that discriminatory factor of just the gender. You as a male gender, you have to do certain things the way you do it. You have to learn certain respectable means of how you need to live with the balance of your roles. Us as women, we also need to learn these roles too. But I'll give you a hypothetical example. If you have to talk of a woman, how many women I know come for counseling or help or aid after they lose a spouse of many years? Purely because suddenly they sit and they are terrified of how do I deal with finances? I've been before. I've never done the children's meetings before. I don't know how to even EFT into a specific account. Why? Because he did it all the time. But why didn't you? Didn't you want to learn? So some of the times it's us as women who also get too complacent in the role that we play of just a few things that we feel if somebody else is doing it, let them do it. I say to every woman, take your initiative back. Take control back. You learning about something doesn't mean you are replacing the person doing it. But learning about it is also empowering you. So if you do have to do it, then you are equipped with means to do this. That directly leads into social inclusion. That is how you include yourself into spaces. You don't have to wait for a specific instance to happen that makes you feel included. Because you equipped yourself and educated yourself, then social inclusion works. But us having to, how do we, get social inclusion into a mindset right now? I think it's almost most important in a classroom. To teach that at classroom level is more impactful than to try and teach it in a boardroom level. So trying to make our children understand the genders, trying to make our children understand this respect of self and respect of other people will help them in identifying the inclusivity issues that they have, and then we guide them, how do we actually build this together? And that makes them then grow to the roles they have to play. So I hope I've answered the question, Bambi.
Thank you, Dr. Mehrin, for the wonderful answer. Thank you for the delightful speech. I think it is still the highlight of the talk show here, and will continue to remain relevant. And as you have discussed about more action rather than discussion, which everybody agrees. So we are all on to discussion. And about we have mentioned about promoting gender equality. Yes, we need to respect women. Thank you for all the topics as we have discussed. Many people care about equality, but they might not know how to promote it. See, we just have discussions but no action. So supporting gender equality means challenging attitudes and assumptions related to things like what people think about sexuality, race, age, or disability status. So inclusion is not merely involving women in markets or encouraging their participation in global value chains. Inclusion refers to the creation of fundamental decent work with good wages. That's what I feel. So now we have finished our first round of question. So second round of question, we have 3 minutes for each answers. I'm not sure whether Professor Jelena is around. She is. She must have left. She's not here. But we will move on to the second question. So can I ask who was the first? She was Dr. Sonesh. I think as per the roster, the second question goes to Dr. Sonesh because Professor Jelena is not around. So the next question should have been to Dr. Mehrin, but since she has just finished the first question, so let me move to the second question. So we have 3 minutes for this question to answer. So the question goes to Dr. Sonesh. How important is the gender pay gap? That's the question. Thank you.
Wonderful question, that how important is the gender pay gap. I think just now Dr. Mehrin has highlighted the concept of when we talk about gender equality so beautifully, right? And I myself spoke into my very first question that when we talk about diversity, what is the meaning of diversity? How we actually take diversity into practical implementation. According to me, these particular topics should not to be a talk of the town right now. Rather, they should be included in such a way that when we address people who are at work, we should not highlight others. We should rather reiterate on the fact that when somebody comes and work for the same two profiles, putting their heart and soul, giving equal number of hours, why someone should be paid less just because she is a female leader? Now, this was the fight even I did and fight for so many women leaders in my corporate career, because I was completely against to this concept of that you are simply a female leader, you have to leave home early, that's why you have to get paid less. No, this is not acceptable at all. When I am in the corporate structure, I give my dedicated number of hours towards my work, I am entitled to take the same kind of payouts which is being given to even a male counterpart. Meet this gap, it should not be done on the basis of gender, rather it should be done much more from a kind of role of the job which you are providing to an individual. Now, I completely agree to the fact that, let's say somebody is having less number of hours involved and they are very flexible to contribute even very few hours of work, and then rest of the time, let's say they want to, especially the female leaders, I know so many female leaders only work for 4 to 5 hours in a day, and remaining hours they just want to give to their family, their responsibilities to take care of this. It's not like they're irresponsible. I feel they're more disciplined towards their duties, because they feel as a female leader, they are employed to a company. They are a mother, they are a daughter to someone, they are a wife, and they also need to cater to those particular social responsibilities when it comes to family status. So why they are able to cooperate and manage themselves so well in all the areas? Because now I think it's high time a woman should start understanding the fact that she should not accept this goal. Okay, I'm okay if I'm earning 10,000, 20,000 rupees, because anyways I want to just work for 3-4 years till I don't get married. Once I get married, my life chapter is going to be secondary and it has to be remote controlled by my husband. Now that is a dangerous thought process. So many female leaders, I used to always ask them, why you are not taking the ladder up? No, Sunesh, anyways, I'm going to get married. I have to change my city. And ultimately, I've just wanted to work for 3-4 years to see how corporate works. I mean, what you will identify in 3-4 years? You have just started. You have not even experienced what is so-called leadership level is all about. You never fought for your rights. Right? So I have seen almost all the female leaders. I'm not saying that female leaders are not taking that initiative. No, but the percentage is so low. My question comes, why can't more and more female leaders come up in the ladder if they slightly stabilize themselves in this thought process that life is not only about marriage, kids. See, these are important aspects to every individual and we all need to respect it, but not at the cost of compromising on our own self-esteem. That is what something very, very important to understand. So when it comes to pay factor, I think I just go and tell everyone the same way: never ever compromise, fight for it. I know it is so kind of disrespect to a female leader when she just agrees to a kind of pay package which she understands that she deserves more, but she simply doesn't open her mouth because she feels something is better than nothing. Now, this is again a very dangerous thought process. You have competed well, you are well educated, you have good experience, right? So these are core areas which I feel a female leader should take into consideration. A gender, pay gap should not be identified based on just because she's a female or he's a male. A male has a better responsibilities. No, I think both the genders have a equal responsibilities to go and fulfill when it comes to a balanced lifestyle. Correct. So I just want to quickly close up this because we have only 3 minutes, according to Professor Binu to us. So I would like to, highlight here how we can overcome this gender pay gap. Number one, support promotion and pay transparencies. Right. When I talk about this element, this is so important for female leaders to understand that they need to compete for their healthy promotion orders, not to compete into an unhealthy manner. Number two, encourage your salary negotiations. Be open to it. When somebody is just simply telling you don't accept, at least have some relevant figure or question around it. Now somebody is saying you, I'm paying you some X amount. When you just go and process back into your head, does that figure actually you feel you are entitled for that, or you deserve something better and more? If you feel it is, go and compete better in the market because there are options available. All you need to do is you have to go and ask for the right remuneration for yourself, right? Number two, re-evaluate hiring, promotion, bonus, and benefit packages, right? Now, this is again a very, very key important aspect, especially when we talk about the corporate dynamics. Though today corporates gives us a very good option and a lot of good multinational companies are offering a lot of areas and they're exploring those all benefits for especially the women leaders so that more and more female leaders can come up in the ladder and they can really contribute best in their capacities. Next is encourage male parental leave as well, because see, I have seen this that when a lady goes for a maternity leave, right, people always ask 100 questions. When she's coming back, sometimes she faces a very, very big, I would say, mental block to come and rejoin the same organization. She has to go through number of challenges. Right? People don't promote her immediately because as she took a break of let's say 6 months or 8 months or let's say 9 months sometime due to the complication she has gone through, does that mean she is not capable to come back and join again onto the same domain and the technology she was mastering once upon a time? Absolutely no. You all need to think on that there is always an angle of up leveling your skill set, upgrade your skill set. So we need to work on all those elements rather than simply stating somebody that hey, you have taken a break, so probably right now you are not the right fit for it. Now that's a wrong notation, especially case of females. Now males, when they go for their let's say a kind of leave, paternal leave, they will start understanding that why it is so important. It's not only the responsibility of a female leader to just take care of kids. As a father, even you contribute very powerfully in the child upbringing, and you together, male and a female, try to contribute to the best sustainability aspect of life. Right? Next important thing here is encourage remote working, right? And the final one concept, diversity in terms of unconscious bias and conscious inclusion of training is very, very important. Because I have seen most of the time we give technical trainings, we have, let's say, very specific module training, but especially to the key aspects of soft skills, emotional intelligence, posh trainings, sexual harassment trainings, I think the awareness is still very, very minimal. Though we are contributing to the sector a lot, and a lot of leaders are working day in day out to ensure that they give their best. I think they are doing a fantabulous job, but still I think the area is widely uncovered. We should not do, I really love the way I think the was talking, it should not be just in our books to be a checklist. Rather, it should be evaluating from an angle of what changes we are bringing in the society, how well it is helping my leaders to come up in life. To conclude, the last point which I want to highlight, and which is again very relevant, is in terms of encouraging the remote working. I think COVID has taught us a lot of practical ways of looking at life. Right? COVID, we all have brilliantly explained the concept of sustainability. How to sustain with the minimal resources. India, especially when I talk about a country who never believe in the concept of online education, online transactions, too much to the core. But today, I think we are becoming almost as one of the pioneer leaders when it comes to digital transaction and ensuring online education. How this whole changed because we were able to try out the means which was best possible available to us. So for female leaders, I would say you should not stop them their working standards just because they can't come to office for work. I think there are sufficient options opportunities should be created for them. Somebody who is talented, somebody who wants to contribute and share knowledge, they should also have been given a second kind of opening to start up their career from remote. Language or your distance or your kids or your family kind of environment should not stop a female leader to take up this opportunity to climb up the ladder up, so that they can contribute very powerfully and they can still be very updated in the society is the most important skill set for a female leader. So this is all from my side, Dr. Binu. I hope this really opens up the wide angle when we talk about a gender difference or we talk about pay gap system. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Mehrin, for the wonderful, Dr. Somesh, for your wonderful presentation here over gender pay parity, over more women leaders should take the responsibilities. More women leaders should come up and take the lead role, upskill, up-level the skill. So many important things that you have mentioned here. Thank you for the delightful speech. It really evoked a lot of emotions, including me. The speaker is so energetic and has a powerful presence on this platform, so which keep the audience engaged throughout the presentation. Thank you so much. Now moving on to the second question, I will move to Dr. Alka Kumar as per the roster. The second question is yours. Second question for you is how to promote diversity and inclusion in the workplace of women. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Binu, for your question. And I would agree with Dr. Binu when she said that both the previous speakers actually ignited the platform, wherein there were a lot of personal examples. Dr. Marites, it was very interesting to understand your perspective also. And I think the question, there is a little overlap in the question. So you might, the examples might sound a little similar. But
yeah.
I would just
I would like to know, sorry for interfering. I would like to know the views from the different speakers. We have strong speakers, charismatic speakers, so they have their own views and opinions.
Yes.
So most of them are overlapping questions.
No, Dr. Binu. Actually, when Dr. Mehrin was talking, I was jotting down something, and she gave me the starter because being from psychology, and so is she. I would number one start from not the workplace and what the question was. But I'll start from the time, the inception of the child, when the girl child comes into our lives, the pinks and the blues, the choices that we make, the delicate darlings we are creating around us, and how nicely, I'm not questioning that. I myself am a mother of a girl and a boy, and I know how we So we tried to go past those previous. Guess what we were doing then? The same story, Cinderella's again and again emphasizing the damsel in distress and the knight in shining armor coming to protect and save her. Then, of course, you would have men or you would have others, protecting you. But why can't a woman fight for herself? So from the very beginning, we were encouraging dependency. So the games were different. The boys were flying kites, playing cricket, and the girl was supposed to. Well, my daughter didn't, and Dr. Binu knows that. But girls were supposed to sit with dolls, etc. But it, of course, in certain cases, it doesn't happen. But what we're doing, we are reinforcing certain things. That it's all right. You're delicate. You need to be protected. You need to be safeguarded. And we were ignoring our boys. But I remember the first time I sat my son down and he was going to camp, and I spoke to him regarding how he needs to interact with girls because he was from a boys' school and there were girls going to be there. So I had to tell him that they're not all your sisters. You got to be careful. Their security and your security both are important. So from the beginning, if a mother is sorted, that is why I continue to say, you educate a man, you educate an individual, but if you educate a woman, you educate the entire generation. So when the woman passes out the values that she has imbibed, how to empower their children, you will see that the outcome would be more adjusted, more accepting. You will not be say like in Hindi we say "Mard ko dard nahi hota." We would not say that. You are all power, and we will not tell our girls that it's all right that you wait. Your husband will come and give you the money, and then you go buy something. I mean, somewhere down the line, the balance comes because right from childhood, we instill in our children the importance of education, the importance of self-reliance, the importance of growth, the importance of exposure, how they can fight their own battles. Sorry. So what I would say, number one, to encourage inclusivity and diversity in the workplace is having an open mind. When there is respect for the other person, when you are not looking at the color of the skin or the gender or the sexuality of an individual, you go past that difference. And then there is this bond of sisterhood with this full of empathy, genuineness, positive regard, etc. And then you stop judging and labeling because 1, 2, 3, I'm judged. You switched on the screen on the camera, I judged. It's natural human tendency. But if only we checked out our own personal cultural biases, if only we all reflected and kept rechecking it. That is why I completely agree with Dr. Sunesh when she says that we should have programs inbuilt wherein we are not only giving technical upliftment to the workforce, but also exposing them to various cultural. That is why we celebrate festivals in the workplace to allow them to understand. That is why they allow women. There is a lot of agency now given to the fact that we are looking at menstrual leave. There's a lot of discussion in our country regarding that, but now we can talk about it. Earlier, we couldn't even discuss or converse, and well, coming to the parliament is a very big thing that now people are talking about it. The second thing that I would say that once you are open-minded and you're able to sort your own biases within your prejudices and your biases, you would be more open to people, and there would be more harmony in the workplace, which would allow better discussions, which would allow people to listen to you, not hear you. So when you are heard, it's a very biological thing, but people, when they listen, they acknowledge, they respect you and they understand you, they would be able to understand where you are coming from. And then the assessments would be different. Also, I'd like to say over here that when you are forming an interview board, look at diverse people on the panel. When you have women, when you have multicultural people, when you have people of different sexual orientations or from various disabilities. I've known of a panel where people came from various walks of life. Then the decisions become easy because you understand that this person is coming from a village, but he is not backward here. He's smart here. This lady is coming from a place where she was kept behind in certain, in let's say, ceremonies and occasions. But she is within herself a very strong person who can take on challenges. So slowly, whispers and opportunities open up. Here, like I want to give an example of how like the Indian Hockey Federation. There is X amount for women, there is X squared, X triple, amount for the male hockey team. Why? Because they think that they are no winners. And slowly, as the team picked up, as the women showed up and stood their ground and performed, I mean, the women had to walk that extra mile to work more than 110% to prove their mettle and to get what the men were getting easily. Well, so be it. So we are struggling, we are working hard, but we need to fight our battles and present our case also very proactively. So that is one. Be confident, be committed, walk the extra mile if it so be, if that suits you. But it's all right to be ordinary also. It's all right to be laid back. It's something that I want to pass on to every girl. So when you are working, I mean, when Dr. Sinesh talked about maternity leave, I know in a school setup, the moment a young girl comes in, I mean, I've been interviewing the girls, and I know the discussion back home, back there is how soon is she going to leave? She's going to get married and relocated. Or if a woman, a newly wedded woman comes, oh, she'll get 6 months of maternity leave. We are calculating in our heads. Why aren't we thinking that this lady is a resource and can work on her? Give her a developmental program, allow her that leave, that 6 months, and when she comes back, she will come with fresher energy and fresher perspective. So that is again one of the things that I feel that when we promote or when we educate people into adopting inclusive behavior, we also are looking at developing a higher sense of teamwork, because most of the time women are pitted against typically the serials, the caste serials, the mother-in-law, daughter-in-law kind of fights. Those are kind of these metaphors can be seen in workplaces also. So why pit women against women? They should work as a team and work together and be able to lift themselves. That is important. And of course, when you are sending out, vacancies, or when you're writing the job descriptions, there should be more emphasis laid down to job descriptions which are performance based. I mean, try not to use gender based adjectives, right? So you should be a captain of such people. Then you can write polite. You can write a person who's more affable. Why can't we do that? So job descriptions also need to be of a different kind. And of course, lastly, I would like to say that very often in our escape from the misogyny that has developed around us, even though we think that we are educated, it is very important. The onus mostly lies on us. And where I take responsibility and I pass on values to my brother, to my son, as much as to my daughter, how they need to take care of the other gender. So it is very important to develop the sensitivity and the sensibility in both the genders equally. So I think I'm not going to repeat the points that Dr. Sunesh had said. So this is what my
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Alka Kumar, where you have mentioned how to educate, how to empower women, encourage inclusivity and open-mindedness in the workplace. It's a very real, genuine reason or topic that we should discuss and put it into action. You are a charismatic speaker who has a natural charm and magnetism that draws people in. So the ability for her to inspire and motivate the audience has proved now. Now moving on, we have very less time now. Moving on to Dr. Maritus. Dr. Maritus, are you there? Okay. Dr. Maritus, the second question is to you. It's also almost similar. Why do we need gender equality?
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Binu, for the question, and I would like to congratulate Dr. Sunish and Dr. Alkakumar for their great explanation. I know the listeners, viewers, learn a lot from them. So, for me, we need gender equality because it is a human right, and gender equality does that mean that women and men will become the same, but that women and men's right, responsibilities, and opportunities will not depend on whether they are born male or female. So, gender equality is really important today, and we, women, should be treated equally. And women deserve to receive the excellent education. And education is one of our needs to grow the economy of our country. So whether you are male or female, so you have the same rights. And education does not see both sexes. And furthermore, women have the ability to alter the world by expressing their thoughts and sharing their feelings and various issues. And why gender equality must be achieved? First, it helps women for businesses. So when women have equal access to education and work opportunity as men, so they may contribute to the success of any company. And another is it leads to better legal protection for women. So increasing women's legal rights ensure their safety and ability to lead them productive and happy lives. Another is it reduces poverty. So gender equality reduces poverty because now the poverty rates are highest among young girls. So as boys and girls get older, the gender difference in poverty grows wider. And this is most likely because girls do not have the same education and career prospect as the boys. And when they get married, they frequently do not work. So gender inequality traps women and their family to the cycle of poverty. And when women have access to the greater education, healthcare, and other career opportunities, it reduces the poverty. Another, it can lead to peace. Of course, if the state promotes gender equality, it less poverty, and it produces more peace. So when country address the significant issues of gender disparity, such as education and employment, it promotes peace for all. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Maritus, for your wonderful presentation. As we know, she's an empowering speaker who encourages the audience to take control of their lives and make positive changes, including me, and also provide practical advice and tools for personal development. And as we know, International Women's Day is a time to celebrate progress towards. So we have heard from different all the panelists about their views and opinions about gender equality and women empowerment, as well as critically it is reflecting on the achievements and seek more momentum towards gender equality throughout the world. Now moving on to our next panelist, Dr. Mehrin. So since you have joined last, so the question, if you don't mind, Dr. Mehrin, the second question: how does leadership help women empowerment? The question is for Dr.
Did you say how does leadership help in women empowerment?
Help women empowerment. Leadership help women empowerment.
Okay. So that is a very good question, because most often when we talk about empowerment, people don't associate it with leadership. Empowerment is always mostly associated just with one person just dealing with themselves, person just growing themselves, developing themselves, or becoming better as a person for themselves. So empowerment is mostly about the self. We hardly ever deal with it in terms of leadership. And I'm saying